Committee of the Whole City Council, November 14th, and ask for a roll call.
Jacobson.
Here.
Fanouken.
Here.
Markwart.
Here.
Snow.
Here.
Noriko.
Here.
Baker. Favor.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
7 present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Is Alderman Baker still out of town, as far as we know?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Told me he'd be here tonight.
Oh, I
Okay.
stand corrected.
Last I heard from him.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Moving to our first consideration, strategic plan update, I'll turn to Lauren Stott to do the presentation this evening.
And Mayor, I'll just give a brief introduction as Lauren Stott is going over to the podium since this is our first presentation. This is an outgrowth of the strategic plan. And Lauren Stott will give the overview, and then our goal is to answer any questions. But I think the main point is that we view the strategic plan as a living, breathing document that is guiding our operations, and that we will be reporting on a quarterly basis to the council moving forward on this. And with that, I will turn it over to Management Analyst Stott.
Thank you. I very much appreciate this opportunity to address the council and talk about our strategic plan. As you know, the strategic planning process started in 2015, and community conversations throughout 2015 really shaped that process. So that draft document that was created after the community conversations was reviewed by council during planning retreats, and the final draft was approved by council in February 2015. So we're here to update you not only on the progress of the plan itself, but how we've been working toward progress reporting since February of 2016. So since February, staff, led by the department heads, have been integrating strategic plan objectives into the city's daily operations. This includes strategic plan justification and memos and other materials, framing conversations based on strategic plan visions, and prioritization of actions based on direction from the strategic plan. Additionally, staff has worked to develop a comprehensive reporting method to ensure progress is being effectively communicated. This follows the council's approval of Achieve It software in the FY 16.5 budget process. This product has allowed staff to decentralize the reporting process, so each department has the opportunity to disseminate information about their strategic plan activities. So although the plan update is being presented by the city manager's office, the information is coming directly from each department as they have completed tasks related to strategic plan visions, strategies, and actions. So this technology that has been made available to each department has really streamlined the reporting process, made it easier for various departments to contribute, and it facilitates communication among the departments on these goals. As we get acquainted and more adept at using the plan monitoring and execution software, we look forward to exploring other areas in which it can be applied. So now I'd like to move toward the review of the strategic plan update itself. And I'd like to ask the council to keep a couple of things in mind. This is a true living document, and we have found that updates have been being made on a daily or even a more than daily basis. For that reason, we wanted to provide council with the most recent information available at this meeting. That is why we were providing information from the start of FY 16.5 till the end of October, rather than what we would call a true quarterly report. We found that a lot of the provided info would have been cut off if we stopped right at the end of the quarter. So we made a determination that providing all of the information available would be best. Of course, we understand if a true quarterly update is most effective in the future. And so that's the exact kind of feedback that we're hoping to receive from council after this first update. So this time during the committee of the whole meeting can be used to discuss the method of presentation, analyze the document in front of you in your backup material, and make any recommendations. We absolutely want to hear from council after this initial report. As you know, we are refining this reporting process, and your input is critical to making improvements. And of course, while we welcome input tonight in this meeting, you're also free to review and share with staff at a later time any feedback that you have. We are open to comments regarding the memo, the presentation style, and the information being reported. So let's move into the plan update itself. What I will do is provide some highlights of the update, split by each vision statement from the strategic plan. This will not be an exhaustive list because that is provided in the backup material, but it is meant to provide a sense of the progress being made on each item. First is the vision of a sense of place. DeKalb is proudly known as a welcoming, safe, and vibrant city, offering economic, educational, social, cultural, and recreational opportunities for everyone. So far in 16.5, the city has done a number of things. City staff has created and showcased a marketing video at the Chamber of Commerce State of the City Breakfast, an important step in the city's effort for positive messaging. Since the start of 16.5, city staff has attended numerous community events, including a Greek house meeting, education consortium, senior expo, a DeKalb County annual senior luncheon, and a Northern Illinois University safety awareness presentation. The city has diligently been taking actions to identify and connect with underrepresented populations in the community. The Community Development Department is collaborating with the DeKalb Community Action Agency to develop a long-range program that will meet social service needs of the residents in University Village. The police department specifically has participated in more than 11 community policing events, including a bike rodeo with the DeKalb Park District, National Night Out, along with the DeKalb Fire Department, a coffee with the chief at Lincoln Inn, and NIU Safety Night. Drawing upon the emphasis of the arts, the city has begun using art and culture to define and celebrate the community by participating in planning and publicizing of the first annual DeKalb Fall Arts Walk by October 2016. Entryway corridors in the city were enhanced by replacing more than 100 signs on Annie Glidden Road from Dresser Road to Lincoln Highway. These signs are now compliant with the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or the MUTCD, reflectivity standards. The city has taken action to bridge the university with the city in its recent development of the NIU Student Leaders Affairs Work Group. This group serves as a professional liaison for student issues, while also functioning as a productive outlet for student voices and concerns. Next, we have the vision of community vitality and a vibrant downtown. DeKalb's neighborhoods, the downtown, and NIU's campus are interconnected in a dynamic interplay of energy and creativity that retains and attracts businesses and living wage jobs. City staff and business owners have met monthly to discuss upcoming collaborations, infrastructure projects, and business assistance resources. Also contributing to this vision, the Crime-Free Housing and Inspections Bureau has made great strides in targeting unsafe and problem properties for blight removal and remediation. Compliance has been attained at buildings in the 600 block of East Lincoln Highway, 921 State Street, 239 West Locust, 1411 Clark Street, and a neighborhood in the 1300 block of North 14th Street. The DeKalb Police Department and the DeKalb Fire Department have attended more than 35 events so far to encourage community-based public safety engagement strategies. Next is the vision of inclusiveness. Diversity is valued and celebrated, with all people being treated with dignity, equity, and respect. To achieve this vision, city staff have attended multicultural events throughout the city, including the Black Male Initiative Baseball Tournament, Safe Passages Domestic Violence Vigil, Veterans Motorcycle Motorcade, Conexion Comunidad Block Party, and the Special Olympics fundraiser at Texas Roadhouse. The city has started to review and adjust city policies, practices, and programs to ensure inclusiveness. The city has launched a new software program, NeoGov Insight, to improve the hiring process for job seekers. NeoGov Insight allows candidates to complete a job interest notification card, allowing a proactive and efficient source of communication between the candidate and the city. Candidates will have the opportunity to select positions of interest and receive email notifications when an opening occurs. This feature will aid the city in the reduction of advertising expenses, enhancement of communications with the candidate pool, and reduction of candidates' continual need to check for opportunities. Additionally, the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners and the Human Resources Department has updated the BPFC rules and regulations in order to streamline the police and fire entry-level recruitment process. This new procedure shortens the recruitment process by 3 months, saves the city more than $3,000 in written examination costs, and increases efficiency, candidates pool, and diversity outreach. Okay, vision accessibility is next. DeKalb's diverse and integrated transportation network provides a wide variety of local and regional transportation options in an efficient and user-friendly manner. A number of steps have been taken to move toward a vision of accessibility. City staff, as part of the Live Healthy DeKalb County initiative, has began the application process in February 2016 for the League of American Bicyclists Award. The application was submitted on August 16th, 2016, and the announcement of the award is anticipated this month. Staff anticipates the award will be critical in obtaining grant funds for future bicycle and complete streets projects. In addition, Transportation Planner Brian Dixon will be submitting an application to the U.S. Department of Transportation seeking money for the Transportation Investment Generation Economic Recovery, or TIGER, grant. The grant funds would go toward the DeKalb County Multimodal Transportation Facility and give the Voluntary Action Center room to store and maintain the city's bus fleet. Finally, the city has taken a number of steps toward a vision of efficient, quality, and responsive services. Through sound fiscal stewardship and collaboration with community stakeholders, city government identifies and coordinates the resources needed to sustain a vibrant DeKalb. A few examples of the steps taken to achieve this vision include the replacement of aging and unsafe fleet and equipment. The city has sold 2 aging squad cars with 150,000 or more miles, is finalizing bid specs for a new street sweeper, and published an RFP for 2 new ambulances. In addition, the city is incorporating a new 5-year capital fleet and equipment plan with the FY 2017 budget. In addition to the Achieve It software, which is facilitating this report, staff has taken additional steps to align operations and performance with the strategic plan. The city manager's office unveiled the City of DeKalb core values to staff and initiated implementation of imagery into workspaces and common areas. This summer, Public Works Director Tim Holdeman worked with each Public Works Division Superintendent to identify specific performance measurement to align work assignments with the city's goals. The city has worked diligently to identify cost sharing and cost reduction opportunities through intergovernmental cooperation. A co-policing effort was initiated between the DeKalb Police Department and the NIU Police Department to help prevent and suppress crime in the Zone 1 police area of DeKalb that surrounds NIU. Public Works Director Tim Holdeman, Utility Superintendent Brian Favor, and Street Superintendent Mark Espy met with NIU Vice President for Facilities Management and Campus Services John Heckman and several of his staff members to discuss opportunities for shared services. Excuse me. The city's human resources practices have also been greatly improved. The city's existing personnel policies were reviewed in light of the new or updated state and federal employment legislation and to further address additional areas of legal and operational compliance. This resulted in the creation of the city's new personnel manual and benefits handbook, which were approved by City Council and became effective on September 26, 2016. Training for employees began during the last week of October and will continue into November. Finally, the city has been working to better inform residents about topics of interest in the community. To assist in that effort, the Public Works Department is working to implement a department-wide communications plan. So that is the high-level overview that I have of each of the vision statements. Now we welcome input, feedback. If there's any specific questions you have on items, each of the department heads is on hand to provide information related to their specific actions.
Lauren, thank you for the excellent overview of this update. And I would note for council and the community's benefit that this update of the strategic plan really touches on numerous projects that staff and other resources have underway for the benefit of the community. I think it gives us a view of what to anticipate being addressed by council over the next 6 to 12 months. As these projects come to completion, we'll see these various topics docketed on city council agendas. I encourage everyone to review the status report in detail and forward questions to staff as you might see those arise. Are there questions for Lauren this evening? Alderwoman Noriko.
I think this was an excellent first report. One request I would have, I noticed in a number of categories, a general statement was made. Discussions have been are underway with staff and outside people or whatever, and it would be helpful if we could get an idea of, have there, in the quarter or whatever the reporting period, has there been one discussion or 5 discussions? It gives an indication of the level of activity on a particular project, and it also it provides somewhat of a time framework. So, for example, if, for 2 reports, I see that there's only been, one discussion or one meeting, I might raise the question, well, has the time frame for this project been extended, or have problems occurred or something? And I recognize that, all projects take much back and forth, but, to provide some kind of framework.
No, that's excellent feedback. Thank you.
And Lauren, as I understand, the status will include if that schedule slips for whatever reason, that status would be reporting that to us on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely. And that's the point of the reporting process, is to make sure that council is aware of what items are on track. And if there are items that are off track, it gives us an opportunity to explain why.
Okay. Other questions of Lauren? One question I have, Lauren, on subsequent updates. Will those be incremental, certainly covering those future periods, but will there be year-to-date type summary? My concern is, will we be reviewing all of what we see in first quarter again in the second quarter?
Sure. I think the concept was to include each of the updates for the entire year on the city's website. So those are available to council and to the public for year to date. And then each quarterly update would provide specific information to that quarter. However, if the council would like to see more of a long-range view or see, back through the entire year, we absolutely have that information.
And that year-to-date review might be most meaningful on a project-by-project basis.
Sure.
But I'm concerned the 25 pages we have tonight are going to grow in volume
Right.
as we move through subsequent quarters, if the previous quarters are repeated. So I was just
Right.
curious how Achieve It gives us that view of the current quarter.
Sure. No, we absolutely could include everything for the entire year, but if it makes more sense, we can house those on the website so they're accessible to everyone, and then just focus on the quarter at hand.
Thank you. Okay. Other questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll thank you, Lauren, for the report this evening, and encourage council as you have opportunity to go through in further detail with questions, please forward those to department heads or Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving next to the intergovernmental agreements with DeKalb County. I'll turn to Assistant Finance Director Bob Miller.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I was tasked to review the intergovernmental agreements with in regards to DeKalb County and DeKalb County Home and DeKalb Market Square agreements, and kind of summarize them, which I did here. Also in your packet, I have attached the ordinances and resolutions as well. And I kind of compiled the payments we made on these agreements to date and kind of just where we're at as far as the status of each of the agreements. So I'll go through them and kind of just tell you where we're at to date on these. The first one is DeKalb Market Square Agreement, Resolution 1993-115. The city got an intergovernmental agreement with the county for the 138 acres by Barber Green and Route 23. This is that Walmart area. There's a 40-year agreement where the city and the county agreed to annex the area and then agreed to share the sales taxes. The 1% municipal retailer's occupation tax, which is what the county gets, or city gets. The city's home rule sales tax, which at the time was 0.75%, and the county's sales tax, which was 0.25%, and that all kind of just goes in one big bunch, and then we kind of split it 50-50. The city's payments to the county currently are averaging about 1.1 million a year. The city also collects from the county 125,000 per year. Currently, this has been going on about 20 years so far, and we're at the $20.6 million that the city has paid the county, and we've gotten back about $2.3 million from the county. So that's kind of where we're at on that agreement. That, like I said, it's about halfway through the agreement, and we got another 20 years to go. The next one was Resolution 1996-001, which was an addendum to the original 1993 agreement, and this was just listing Walmart as the known store, and the city and county both agreed to pay $500,000 towards public improvements to that in order to get Walmart in there. The next one was Resolution 2002-095. This was the second amendment to the original agreement. This listed Kohl's, and it was in order to get Kohl's for infrastructure improvements of $1.55 million. The city and county both agreed to pay half of that. The city decided to do it in the form of sales tax rebates. So the next 8 years after Kohl's got in there, you see the total that we paid $609,000. Our last payment was in 2013, so that agreement is done, and we are collecting or sharing still with the county, but we are done paying Kohl's for that agreement. Resolution 2004-031. This was the intergovernmental agreement for the. Let's back up. In 1997, there was a Peace Road interchange improvements that the city entered in with the tollway, and by 2004, we had to pay a $2.3 million dollar amount. At that time, the county stepped in and paid that $2.3 million in exchange for us to increase our home rule sales tax by 0.5%. And share that with them for the terms of the original 1993 agreement. Currently, as you can see, we have paid just on this agreement alone, a $3.4 million on that agreement. And, estimating about $250,000 a year. This, obviously, since it's part of the original 1993 agreement, it still has another 20 years left on this agreement as well. All right. There is currently, there's an ordinance 2012-019. That was a development agreement with First Midwest, or First Rockford Group for the Ulta store, and we're sharing 50/50 for that sales tax rebate as well. And currently, we've paid about $16,000 in that, for that agreement. Yes.
I was here when the panic hit the council in the form of, we have to come up with 2.3 million that nobody was aware of. They just thought that the tolls being collected were going to cover it, and it didn't even cover the interest, apparently. And it was a 10-year agreement, and I remember that's what we voted on. And I remember when Mark Bernanke was here, we started asking when that 10 years was up, and they were having trouble finding the documentation. I looked in the backup. It doesn't appear that you found it either.
Right.
And I do remember that if it wasn't paid off in that 10 years, we had a 4% interest. But
Right, that,
when we voted on it, it wasn't meant to go the rest of the 40 years. That wasn't a 30-year deal. They're going to get like 10 million for putting up 2.3.
right. Yeah, if it goes another 20 years, I think averaged out, it's gonna look probably about 7.3 million if we continue this. Like you said, they did have like if we repealed the 0.5%, at that point in time, any point in time, if we didn't pay the 2.3 million back, we would have to pay whatever we didn't pay plus a 4% interest on that. I'm not suggesting to repeal it now, but if we did it now, obviously we've overpaid them. Even if we did a 20-year loan, I think at 4% interest,
I say it was a 10-year deal, and
Yeah.
the documentation has been misplaced at our end. So maybe we could ask them to look at that, and maybe ask some of the aldermen that were around that maybe kept their paperwork. I purged everything a few years ago.
Okay.
To be clear, in the backup, starting on page 61 of the PDF is Exhibit D, which is Resolution 0431. And following that on page 62 is the intergovernmental agreement between the City of DeKalb and County of DeKalb. And that is the document that provides for that obligation. It indicates the city's consideration is both the county agreeing to pay the 2.3 million and also the resolution of a dispute regarding whether the county was entitled to share in the city's 0.5% increase in the sales tax. But it expressly indicates the durational terms contained in the above referenced agreement shall remain in full force and effect, referring to the 40-year term of the sales tax agreements that were entered into. So that is the agreement that imposed that obligation relative to the 2.3 million, and there is not anything in that that limits it to a 10-year term, although that would be certainly great if there were.
I remember reading it. I had it. I'm sorry I didn't keep it. I don't believe it was presented to us that way. I think I would have caught it. I think we had a debate on it, and we were going to just pay the 2.3 ourselves. All we had to do was bond for it. We just didn't have the money in the bank. Maybe that can be used to negotiate with the county. Somebody somewhere has that documentation.
And again, I think there is a fully executed copy of the agreement from that time that's in the agenda packet.
All right, so that was the Market Square, the county home agreement. This would be the area across the street from Walmart, which include, I don't know, like Michael's and TJ Maxx, that area over there, where the old county home building was. Resolution 1999-038, intergovernmental agreement with the county. Same terms, same sales tax sharing as the 1993 agreement, so we're sharing the municipal retailers occupation tax, the home rule tax, and the county's 0.25% tax. So you got, if you can see there, current to date, we've paid 2.7 million, around 2.8 million. And the county has given us back 281,000 in sales tax money, but in this agreement, there also was a 50% share on lease proceeds, which we currently have gotten 758,000 from the county. And there was another clause in there for municipal services, an annual amount ranging from 25 to 40,000, and currently we've got about 415,000 on that. So we are paying out about 225,000 an average a year and collecting about 108,000 a year. So roughly about a $100,000 spending. This agreement has about another 5 years. It was only a 20-year agreement, so it's about another 5 years left on this, and we'll be done with that one. That's it for my presentation.
Okay, thank you,
Any
Bob.
questions?
City Manager?
Yeah, I would just add that purpose of the presentation tonight was to give an overview, because I know that questions have been asked by the council to provide more information on these intergovernmental agreements that we have with DeKalb County in order for council members to better understand them. I think it's important too, as we presented the budget and we talk about the different revenues and expenditures that we have, for you to understand the money the amounts that are being abated back to the county. Plus also, last couple fiscal years, we've changed how this was being allocated. It wasn't really shown in a transparent manner in the budget. So now you can see how much total amount the city is receiving and how much is going back to the county. But we wanted to bring it to the council members so you're aware of it, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have, and that's the background on it.
Thank you. Questions, Alderman Jacobson?
I guess the lowest hanging fruit is what leverage do we have to try to renegotiate these at this point? I mean, is there any option that we can go to the county and say, hey, we've paid you all we owed you plus the 4% and then some? Have we engaged in that discussion? Have we started, even brought it to their attention?
The way I would answer the question is, I think at the point in time where there is an issue where the county may approach us on something that they're looking for from us, would be the opportunity to open that door. The county is aware that we're aware of the agreements, because with different discussions, we've both talked about what is out there as far as these legacy agreements, but asking them directly to modify, no, that's not been asked. It's number one, we felt the obligation, we need to bring this to council for your review so that all of you are aware of it. And number two, the opportunity has not presented itself where at this point, they're looking for assistance from us in particular for an issue. And I think that opens the door for relooking at these agreements.
Alderman Baker?
It seems logical that the county should recognize and acknowledge that they've entered into a usurious agreement, that it wasn't what many of us thought we were agreeing to. Pete's Road needs a lot of work between right around there and the tollway, and maybe the county should kick in an extra $5 million. Be a perfect logical solution.
Other discussion or questions at this point? Okay, thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Moving on to public participation. Do we have anyone
No.
wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to, I'd entertain a motion to approve holding an executive session to discuss personnel as provided for in 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Jacobson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Favor. Roll call.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Fanouken?
Yes.
Markwart?
Yes.
Snow?
Yes.
Noriko?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Favor?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes,
8 yes.
thank you.